Welcome to Slimehouse TV, the show that brings you the very best in everything cool, artistic, retro and edgy. Today we've travelled all the way to Nottingham to check out Warhammer World. Let's see how we get on. So if you mention the word Warhammer to your average person, it's more than likely going to be something that they've never even heard of. But for me growing up as a kid, it's something that I was completely obsessed with. And if you've ever even just dabbled in it a bit yourself, you'll know just how highly addictive collecting and painting these little orcs, elves, aliens and space marines actually is. Warhammer is a hobby that blurs the lines between model building and gaming. Think of it as a mix between Airfix and Dungeons and Dragons, and very similar to companies like 2000 AD, is a product that is not only enjoyed by people all over the planet, but is something that was created and continues to be produced right here in little old Britain. Produced by Games Workshop, a company founded in 1975, Warhammer and Warhammer 40k is now a franchise that turns over millions of pounds every single year. Don't be fooled by the fact that these guys create miniatures, because from day one they have always meant big business. I've not even picked up a copy of White Dwarf for about 10 years. But with Warhammer now being bigger than ever, I wanted to revisit something that was a huge part of my childhood. And what better way than going to the very place where it gets created, Nottingham's Warhammer World. So when you first get there, like outside they've got all the, they've obviously got like a big Warhammer sign, that's what we had to keep a lookout for in it so we know where we were going. And outside they've got the 1.1 scale Rhino, which I was buzzing out about, so I think that's a pretty new addition to Warhammer World, which is mega impressive to see one of those things built in real life. A lot of the stuff from Warhammer is quite like otherworldly, it's quite out there, it doesn't really, it's not kind of stuff that could exist in reality, so seeing like the Rhino there were pretty wicked. These are called Tau. I always thought they were like, they look quite manga, looks quite anime. So we went into the main foyer inside the building, and straight away I'm seeing like loads of stuff that I used to have when I collected it years ago. So you got like Tau, you got like a Tau army set up in cabinets in the foyer, and they've got the like Blood Bowl, and they've got some Ultramarines, and they've got a Titan and all that kind of thing set up. So instantly I'm seeing things that I'm familiar with, do you know what I mean? Stuff that I used to collect. Over there you got like a crane with a shipping container. Back to drop it on some Space Marines or some Nurgle. And then we went upstairs and there's a shop, isn't there?
Oh, the shop's really nice.
And there's lots of nice people that work there.
Oh, they're so friendly. They're really nice.
So straight away a guy comes up to me, I can't even remember his name, but he's like, hi, my name's Adam.
Yeah, it's Adam.
You remember? Yeah, hi, my name's Adam. Proper friendly guy. Just buzzing out of Warhammer.
Yeah, and they were just there like, what's your name? Okay, what's your army? What do you do? It's like...
Yeah.
Told nice to meet you.
Theo.
And Theo, nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Adam.
Adam,
Nice one, Adam.
We've got James, Hayden, Sam and Jake.
So yeah, they were proper friendly, and instantly inside the shop they've got a ton of Lord of the Rings stuff. And they've got like pretty much every mod, I think they've got every single model that Warhammer sell now, the Games Workshop release now, all assembled but unpainted, so you can really like see them in kind of like a prototype format, like it's glued together but it's just grey. He's got a sick head, he's got an head like Crash Bandicoot. And just walking around you can see there's a giant gaming room in there. There's people there like with massive armies gaming.
And they all make their own like terrain and sort of like all the stuff that they do the battles and stuff on. It's like, it's incredible to see the creativity with it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we were quite, I mean, this is like as soon as we walked in, and we was already quite blown away by like the amount of detail in the gaming boards and stuff like that. There's nothing more Slimehouse than like a swamp pit with tentacles coming out. It's the pinnacle of what we are all about. So I got talking to one of the guys in there, and he said that this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I thought that was Warhammer World, but the dude says to us, he's like, no, there's like an exhibition room which you pay money for, because it's free to get in Warhammer World. You pay money to look into the exhibition rooms, and that's where like the good stuff is. I'm just in the exhibition rooms, and basically there's 4 rooms just full of the sickest Warhammer ever, painted by all the heavy metal team, and that's like Games Workshop's official like certified top boy team of painters, and it's wicked. Just having a walk around looking at the stuff, it's just unbelievable, man. I've never seen sets like it. The dioramas are just fucking epic. So you go into the first exhibition room, and what I really liked is that they had lots of the old school stuff a lot of my toys as a kid were from car boots. Like that's why I'm really into all the 80s toys. A lot of them toys from the 80s and 70s were before I were even born. But my dad used to get me them from the car boot. So I had a lot of Warhammer from car boots as well. So I was seeing stuff like dragons and different characters that I'd got myself from car boots. So I liked all that stuff. You know, I love the retro stuff anyway. I remember having this guy. He must be from like the very first run of Warhammer. His wings used to fall off. This music's enough to get anyone in the mood for war. The Army of Darkness. And then you go upstairs into the first exhibition room, and straight away I seen this massive. I think they were dwarfs versus Skaven in this big like 360 tower, fighting on bridges and things. And this is when I was just seeing like these guys really put a lot of time and effort into painting and putting these together. Not just painting them.
It's so fun as well, like putting it all together. They must have enjoyed it.
Oh wow. Yeah. Sick bridge. I bet these are like scenes from books and stuff. Do you think they get free reign? Just like...
Well, they must do to an extent. I bet there's like a story to follow, or just something to, like, not like necessarily a script, but there's obviously books and literature that go along with it. There's obviously like a storyline to it. So
and I just mean free reign with how much money they can spend. Did they say like you can? No,
creativity.
I'm pretty sure that all them dioramas are pretty much from stories. But like you've got a grant to create this scene because there's some money's worth.
The budget is
there's money's worth.
Go crazy.
Came there. That's like Slackhead. Is the one here looks like Slacker with a mohawk, a little dwarf. Wow, look at this display, Claude. Glotkin at 12 o'clock. That was wicked. And then they had the massive Nurgle army set up. You like the Glotkin. You like the Nurgle.
Favourite.
She likes the Glotkin. and it was funny because that's what I used to collect, Nurgle. I used to collect the Nurgle, so they've got a massive, and the castle's so sick. And in the castle even looks like it's proper integrated into the style of Warhammer, very chunky, very like out there, proper sick. So they've got like pure Warhammer fantasy Nurgle pouring out of this castle, proper good. Oh, it's Slanesh, innit? Slanesh, they've all got the tits out.
Oh no,
where's the demonettes?
You
make me wish I had 6 hands. Imagine if you were like a demonette and everyone had 1 tit and you had 2, you'd be like the head demonette.
You'd be the freak.
Yeah. Check out 2 tits over there. Ew, freak. You can't sit with us. 2 tits. Oh. It's in fucking clouds. Cloud City style. This one, and they're a new army. They're called Caradron Overlords, I think. Forgive me if that's wrong, but they're like steampunk dwarfs that live in the sky. They reminded me of Bioshock, and they've built a whole diorama that's clouds. Proper sick, man. Like they're in the sky, like they're above the clouds having this war. And then I think the second room was also fantasy stuff. So there's loads of other fantasy Warhammer, because Warhammer's split into 2 different categories. For the most part, you've got Warhammer, which is fantasy, swords, bow and arrows, crossbows, and then you've got 40k, which is like space marines, laser guns, plasma rifles, aliens, chain swords. So the first 2 rooms, if I remember correctly, are all fantasy, and then we get into the 40k stuff. And instantly I saw like Space Hulk, and when I was little, like my friend's dad had Space Hulk, but we could never play with it. But he's sick. The box just buzzed me out just looking at the pictures on the box. But yeah, we could never play with it.
I love the music.
Music's sick.
So good.
Just when I go to war.
Yeah, it makes me really feel like I'm
Go to Warhammer War. They've got like massive setups with drop ships. And then there'll be like 50 dudes running out of the dropship into something else, and they're like, so you proper like, you're looking at it like, go, 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 go. They're running out, look. Head into that thing. This is like, battle stations, everyone.
go, go, go.
And they'll be running into some mad fortress kind of thing. So you've got loads of different marine armies, and then they've got one where they've got these, I think they're called Templars or something, I might be wrong. They're like black painted marines, and they're fighting some purple marines. I don't know the different names of them, but these big explosions that they've built like mid-explosion.
Oh, yeah.
So sick. I don't know why they do that,
Like
but
the rockets and everything that go into the ground.
yeah, I thought it was coral. I thought they'd like painted coral, but they can't because it was like too well constructed. It like proper organised out. Even though it was an explosion and it's supposed to look chaotic, they were still proper thought into how it was put together. Oh, sick. These are explosions. This one's actually firing some missiles out. Oh, it's just firing at that big Titan. Nurgle Titan. More Nurgle, these. I like the colour of these ones. They're more like creamy. So there's all this 40k room with loads of cool stuff, and there's a massive Tyrannid army. I've seen this Tyrannid army fighting these they're called space wolves. Grey Knights, space
the ones
wolves.
that were like half in the water,
Yeah.
climbing out the water.
You've got Tyrannids, like little tiny bits of head, which they've obviously cut off in segments and put in resin, making it look like they're floating
Yeah,
through
the
water
water's
and climbing up a
amazing.
wall. And there's some dude getting, like there's some kicking others off,
Yeah.
falling in the snow. Big, massive, again, thousands of pounds worth of stuff for this diorama. It's all round art, isn't it? Someone sculpted it, thought it up, sculpted it, painted it, customised it. Thought of the idea of how to make all this stuff look like it's fully in motion of war. There was a wicked one with Imperial Guard, and there must have been like 30, 40, 50 tanks like coming forward, like marching, like World War II style. And there's so many, and you've got to think every single one of them miniatures, they've painted it. Someone sat and painted that and dry brushed it and waited for it to dry,
incredible.
and then had to glue it. Imagine if you glue it all and then one just won't stand up, you're wounded. You've got to mess about. I don't know how they get in to maintain these things. Yeah, we're just saying it's like such an art that someone thinks the idea up, and then someone sculpts it this small, and then some guy paints it and customises it, and then sets it up into like a massive diorama so it looks like it's in motion, in action, like mid-war. It's proper clever. But so we were looking in this room, and then you're taking pictures, and I open a door and I just see something, and I'm like, Claudia, look at this. And
Wait
you're like,
a minute, I'm just looking at this.
you're like, wait, I'm looking at this. I'm trying to take pictures. I'm like, Claudia, just forget that. That's nothing. And you were like, what? And then you looked in the room as well.
What?
What? And then you looked, and then you were just like, yo. Shit just got real. So basically, what they've got set up is I found out after, and I kind of figured this anyway, but I asked them, the biggest Warhammer diorama ever built, ever. So what we've got below is like a massive battle between Ultramarines and what look like Khorne Berserkers, Chaos Marines, and it's unbelievably big. I asked the guy if it was the biggest Warhammer display ever, and he tells me it is. He says this is the biggest one that's ever been created, and all the building is made up of like different model kits that they do sell in, and they've just put thousands of them together and painted it over what looks like years. But it's unbelievable. Every single inch of what you're looking at, there's something going on. Like it's crazy. Ultramarines versus Khorne Chaos Marines. There's all these Khorne Berserkers, these massive Titans. So they do these things called Titans, which you can't really buy in the shop. You have to mail order them, or you can buy them from Warhammer World's Titans, which are like massive, hundreds of pounds worth of kit. There's about 4 Titans fighting on this diorama. Thousands and thousands of little miniatures, all in various states of war, explosions going off. There's music playing, there's epic music. There's epic music playing throughout Warhammer World. I was getting gassed in there. Like that the music made me want to go to war. It made me want to war, that music. It made me want to buy Warhammer. So there's this massive battle, and there's like a plaque telling you the exact story. I didn't read that because I was too gassed off what I was looking at. But yeah, so there's like drop ships. I forget what they're called. They're like the flying ships that Marines use, flying around a building. There's a dragon breathing fire. So sick. Like you have to be there to appreciate just how long it's taken. It's like a whole round art, and the people that design this and build them and paint them are all in this very building down below under our feet, and in the building across the road. All the Warhammer Games Workshop crew are doing that all the time. And what like started as like a British independent business, like has now gone on to be something that's like worldwide. They're telling me that they've got shops in Japan, in China. That it's huge, man. It's huge. It's cool. It's something I loved as a kid, and I hadn't looked at it for like many years, and it's just gone off into a whole new direction. So these dudes have got jetpacks, jumpers, jump packs, whatever they're called. Look at that, they're blasting that with fire, attacking this big cathedral. Ultramarines there copping for it. Man, everywhere you look there's just something going on.
The precision, the thought, the story, the background, everything in this is like...
I love it.
It's amazing, it's just the detail, like...
Love how deep it goes. You can look at it for hours and you'll always see something new. Do you know what I like about Warhammer? Obviously I like the fact that they're cool monsters and aliens that fight each other, and you paint them and you do them up. But like in this day and age where, especially in Britain, where like creativity it's not all around us. It's not easy to get a job. There's thousands of sick artists that can't get work. But with Warhammer, if you get good enough at painting it, and you get good enough at constructing it, and you're good at playing the game and things, if you dedicate your life to Warhammer, you can get a job doing it. And they're telling us that there's shops in Hong Kong and Japan and all over the world. And we were talking to the guys and they said, like, I love coming to work. It's like every day I get up, I'm buzzing for work. That's a rare thing in England, especially in England, isn't it? Like, for you to get a job painting or doing art every day, that's not an easy thing to do.
They love their jobs as well. It's not like, they're just like you said, they're turning up to work.
Yeah, they're not turning up. They love it. That's their life.
Like, I was getting excited because they were getting excited talking about it.
Yeah, we were buzzing out how much they were buzzing out. The fact they were buzzing out so much made us buzz out, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, the whole building just had a really cool vibe. And coming from someone who had not like painted or collected or even looked into Warhammer for a long time, like going straight back into it instantly just brought back all them feelings that I used to love as a kid when I used to go into Warhammer shop and used to buy stuff. Like what was your feeling of Warhammer before you went there, and how you feel about it now?
Before, I think I was just indifferent. I thought it was just one of those things that it's alright, yeah, you walk past the shop, you don't think much about it, and then you go in and you're like, oh my god, this is so much fun. I just want to do it.
Yeah, I'm proper glad that we went. Get yourself there, Warhammer World in Nottingham. I want to go buy some Warhammer now.